back to the next class. I'm excited for you that you're moving along and making progress. And today I want to talk to you about background. Because as important as the foreground is, or whatever you have in your still life, you can play a lot with the background. You can go from light to dark in the same painting, and it doesn't even have to be real. When I say to paint the background at the same time of the foreground, I mean look at everything at the same time. See the whole picture first in what you want to do, what you want it to be. Some painters use the background to make minute details, and there's red in it, and they play with the idea that the background doesn't always have to be far away. But in my book, and especially in this course, I want you to understand that the background is blue, blurry, far away, and it brings out the object that you have in the front. Remember, we're still doing still lifes. We're not doing landscapes yet. I saw a student who had black mountains far away, and the contrast with the sky was almost black and white. And of course, my view went to the mountains immediately instead of whatever she had in the foreground. Mountains, things that are in the distance, are soft in color. The contrast is less with the environment, and it's a background. Now, you don't have to realistically paint the background of your still life as you have it. I know we practiced folds, and the folds were important, but you can also say, well, now I want the background on the top more dark than at the bottom. Is it really true? Is your spotlight really going that way? We don't really care. If one of your subjects casts a shadow on your true background, you can use that as a darker point, or fade in the object into that darker point. So I want you to discover that this time and really look at what is going on in your still life, what you can add to it. We're not even talking about colors. This is just the value, the light or the dark. As you see in the demo, so it's a white hibiscus, but you can choose even a white background when the petals fold and they curl and they cast a little shadow. So that petal becomes darker or slightly darker. And you can use that to bring the flower forward on a white background. Let's look at the demo and see what you think of it. I have a couple of 10 by 10 inch small canvases, and I'm going to paint 4 different views of the same flower before it wilts. So this is the white hibiscus in a glass. Now the glass, of course, I will measure that later exactly how that goes, but for right now I'm just going to focus on the background. There's a lot of stuff going on in the background. As you can see, there's some books, there's a little table, there's a door, there's a curtain. It's not necessarily all lines that go architecturally exactly downwards. They have a little angle, especially like for the curtains. But there is a little space, there is a little negative space that I can use to see where and how far and how long the petals of the flower go. So yeah, here I have my little brush and diluted raw umber. I'm going to add white to it, and I'm going to make an underpainting because I know that the flower will wilt. Flowers don't last as long as fruit. Actually, it stayed pretty long, but still not long enough for me to to start really making paintings afterwards. This is probably also the reason why the historical painters used underpainting, because they didn't have a camera and they could not see what was going on after they had the underpainting. So it's part memory, but see how I am already now adding in the the back the background slightly, where I want to have it and how I want to have it. To let the flower stand out, I thought it should be dark all around, but then later I changed my opinion about that. Watch this a little bit, and then you don't have to make 4 still lives, but you could. I think it's a lot of fun to do, actually. And make your decision what you're going to really allow to be dark or white. It's all value background, and the light is light and the dark is dark. I'm using a fan brush here to soften the whole background. You don't have to do that. I don't mind brush strokes, but to make it softer in the back, you can blend all the brush strokes that you have to make it more blurry. By the way, this is all natural light. I do use a spotlight later to overcome a little bit the light that's coming from the door that actually makes the camera position a little bit too dark. And you see that here. It's northern light what I'm looking against, but the camera cannot adjust like we do our eyes. Now this is a different background, a different position of the flower. It's more the back of the flower, and you can really make different positions. You can make almost endless paintings, different paintings from the same subject. And that happens a lot. You can do that a lot more than you think. So I would also suggest, have a couple of canvases ready to make more than one drawing of the same, a painting of the same subject. Either you change the background, or you change the position, your eye position, or when you have folds, you change the folds. Whatever you're going to change something and make a series, because when you make one, you can see the mistakes you made in the other one. And the light that's coming now towards me is actually, I find it more interesting than when the light is going up onto the subject. So play with that. Play with the light, play with the backgrounds. A flower is a great subject because it has all these different angles. I mean, an apple on 5 different angles is still an apple. But then you can change the folds or the whole surroundings. Here are my 4 paintings that I made with all different kinds of backgrounds. They're not finished by any means. I let them dry. These are underpaintings. I'm actually contemplating of making a red hibiscus with a bluish green background, but I don't know yet. But here you see the different options of all the same subject.